right now.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rick. Okay, welcome everybody. First item on our agenda is my notes up here, introductions. I'll go ahead and begin. Chad Euler, unincorporated Clackamas County resident and Waste Commission Chair. Rick, you and Evan.
Sure. Rick Winterhalter, Clackamas County staff, sustainability and solid waste.
And hi, everyone. I'm Evan Polk, manager for the county's sustainability and solid waste program and serving as staff for the meeting.
Hello, my name is Doris Herrera, and I don't know what I did to connect, but I cannot. I see everyone, but I know you cannot see me, and I cannot. I think probably I've joined as I don't know. Sorry about that. But my name is Doris Herrera. I'm the new member here for the Sustainability and Solid Waste program. My position is community recycling assistant and helping with event recycling. Nice meeting you all.
Welcome, Maurice.
Thank you.
Bill, I see you next on my list.
Okay, I'm Bill Potter, Rural Clackamas County Commissioner at Large. I am retired I was a solid waste administrator for Columbia County, so I'm here to help.
And I see Carlton next.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Carlton Polmier. I work for Waste Management, and I'm here as one of the industry representatives. Forward to working with you.
And then Julie.
Hey everyone, I'm Julie Hamilton. I work in Clackamas County and the Environmental Health Program Manager, and I hold the public health position for the commission.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on our list is the meeting minutes from our May 12th meeting. Does anyone have any comments, corrections, or other suggestions they want to make for those minutes? I hear none. Would anyone like to make a motion on accepting those minutes?
I'll move, nobody else will.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? I think that was everyone in favor. All right. Item 3 on our agenda is to review a presentation on the expanded recycling services. Rick, or you or Evan?
I'm going to take that one. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully, if technology works. Can everybody see that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
There it is.
Sometimes it comes together. Sometimes it works. So as you know, when last we met, you put a recommendation forward to the board that this additional recycling services be offered through the franchise system. And the board, as you know, at their last meeting in August, or not their last meeting, but the last time we met with them in August 3rd, the board adopted your recommendation and directed staff to work with the collectors to develop a program. Now, Washington County and their certificate holders adopted this program that you're going to see today in July. And we obviously owe a tremendous amount of gratitude to our colleagues over in Washington County for putting together a lot of materials in a short amount of time and allowing us to share and use those materials. So I think we're all learning together. And so with that, kind of go through, I mean, I think everybody's read the report, but we're just going to run through essentially the report. If we can hit page down, and hopefully it would go down, but it's not going down. Oh, what the heck? There we go. Okay. So we have a new optional collection service that's available from the Garbage and Recycling Company, and it was named Recycle Plus. The name was kind of taken from a very similar program that was started in Clark County by the Waste Connections Company. So the materials that are proposed to be collected, and I do not understand. Well, I apologize. There we go. So the materials that were selected for collection are fluorescent bulbs, textiles, clamshells, and film plastics. The franchisees will provide clear plastic bags for textiles, clamshells, and film, and the customer will provide a clear plastic zip sealed bag for the bulbs in order to keep mercury from releasing and that sort of thing. So Far West Recycling, one of the region's longest established material recovery facilities, or as we say, MRF, in Portland, will be receiving these materials. And they have updated their Metro license to receive the materials and are currently in a public comment period with the DEQ permitting process in order to receive these materials. Because in the past, material recovery facilities, while disposal sites, because they were had been kind of exempted from, because they were picking up primarily principal recyclable materials, they were allowed to continue it. When they started picking up these types of materials, they needed to get a DEQ solid waste permit. The bulbs, just to go through, so Far West Recycling is receiving those materials. The bulbs are going to be sent from them to processors who are vetted, have received third-party certifications such as R2 or the Recycling Industry Operating Standard, RIOS, and or e-stewards. So, for example, a couple of those markets right now are Universal Recycling Technologies in Clackamas, or URT, and the Environmental Protection Services in Brooks. And so then the textiles are going to be sent to Pioneer Wiping Cloth, and these are things that you wouldn't take to the Goodwill for reuse. These are clothing items, textile items that are going to be downcycled into wiping cloths and rags. And then the film, so this includes all that stretchy kind of film that goes around your toilet paper rolls, your water bottles, the single-use t-shirt bag from the grocery store, which you don't get anymore, but from smaller retail stores. And all of that kind of film can go. And that is primarily going to go to Trex in Nevada. That's where most of the stuff that's collected at grocery stores goes. And that's where this material will go as well. The clamshells, a new market is opened for those. We kind of have a singular market. We're keeping our eyes on this one pretty closely, the DEQ and everybody else is. But right now, I think, as I had said at a previous meeting, the Association of Recyclable Plastics has said that the market where it's going, which is eventually into California to be used back into berry packs. And so a lot of that number one pet will go in, and we've been told that market alone could probably consume all of the material that we'll collect for sure. And so that's going through impact plastics, and so that's what's happening with that material. So just a quick overview. It's an optional program. This is not, and it's being offered by the same folks that come by your street once a week, pick up your yard debris and recycling and garbage. And so It's optional. It's not part of that service. You will sign up through your collector via phone call or website, and they then will deliver the bin and bags, which you will see in a second. And so this is an on-call service. So customers call in advance of receiving collection, and it's going to be on an every other week basis. So upon the sign up, customer will be given their collection day. So some folks will be having the material collected on, I think Carlton can give me the nod, but I think his company is going to put that on the same collection day as all of the other materials that's picked up, but it would be picked up by a completely different truck, completely different personnel. And so, so the customer will be given, hey, your pickup is going to be on a Tuesday, and every other week, the first week starts, here's when it starts. Folks must call 2 days in advance of the collection day, or reach out to the, or however the company is asking folks to do that. It's going to be a little combination here in the beginning, where some of the collectors will have a web sign up, and others will kind of require a call in, and some may have both. And so folks, because it's an on-call service, you can choose how frequently you want to use it. So if you want to have one collection a month, you can do that. You want to have one collection every 6 weeks, you can do that. We are going to start the program in the urban area only, and kind of keep it in that area. So keep it within the urban area. So those folks with yard debris service that are in the metro district will have the opportunity for that service. There are some anyway. So that's how that's going to work. We are working towards making the program available to residents that live in multifamily housing, and we're going to be shooting for doing that by the beginning of next year, and we will keep you posted on how that's going. And then we are also pursuing strategies to serve the rural area. Obviously, with any of these collection programs, you're always looking for efficiencies and densities and that type of thing. So we hope as the program grows, then those densities begin to happen, that maybe we can serve the rural area in that way. We have also started having some conversations about possibilities for drop-offs out there, but we do, and we heard from the board, and I think we heard from you, that we do want to try to get this available to everyone throughout the county, but it may take a little bit of time. So customers place the bags of materials in the franchisee provided lidded bin and place it at the curb for collection. This bin with the lid on, it's an 18-gallon bin, very similar to your glass bin, essentially. But the lid on top, so the bin itself is like 18-gallon capacity, with the lid on it gives it a 2 extra gallons. All material, we're asking that all the material that needs to be collected that week be in the bin and secured, with the lid secured. The collection will be curbside as a standard, and collection at the house is available for additional fee, very similar to our other services. If any of the commissioners have any questions as I'm going along, I should have said this at the beginning, please stop me. So one of the other things that was put into the program are collection drives, and we're going to try to do those. We're going to work with community members, collectors, and end users kind of to figure out what some of the best materials are to collect, maybe provide the greatest environmental benefit, or help convenience, gather up smaller materials that folks may want that convenient, that are available at drop-off spots, but we can do this once or twice a year possibly. And one of the first ones we're going to try string lights, and the collectors have agreed we're going to kind of do that for the first quarter because we're not starting until January. So give that opportunity. And these string lights, we don't want in the curbside bin, obviously, because they get, it's kind of what the phrase we use is tanglers. So they get all tangled up in equipment and that sort of thing. And so we don't want them there, but they have a market. I was just talking to the manager at Far West earlier today, and he goes, yeah, we have a couple bales of string lights right now ready to go out the door. So they get them at their drop-off site all the time. So the other materials we're going to determine, reuse opportunities are going to be pursued. We're really kind of excited about that. Everybody has been, but we're finding, there's some real challenges. We want to make sure that, we don't want to overwhelm any individual community organization with materials that maybe they can't use. So we want to be very careful about how we vet that and the materials that we select. So we will be making you aware of those as we go forward, or what we're learning as we go forward on this. So outreach, always a big part of everything. And we're, about all these programs and putting these programs out. And I'll be frank with you that we are just kind of getting started on what we're going to do there. And again, very thankful to Washington County for sharing their materials. And so we're going to kind of follow their lead. We're going to have a customer letter that will go out before, as soon as things are adopted by the board. There's also, we have a leave behind opportunity that will probably a postcard that you'll see at the end of this set of slides. I'll kind of go through what those look like. And then obviously on the websites, both the collectors and our site and city sites, if the cities choose to adopt this program, then, we'll do as much as we can. Of course, we'll do as much as we can on social media, next door, those types of things. We have to be cautious with some of those things because of the overlap in media connection and, the inability. So that may come at a little later time. We may just, everything kind of stay directed at customers, but we'll kind of work on that. That same caveat goes with our Clackamas County quarterly. That may be too broad a presentation, but we'll try to find some other print media to use. And also, unfortunately, we will probably have to do some OOPS tags, but we're going to have those ready right at the beginning so that they help that help the folks understand what can and cannot go into this. Because even, we can't have wish cycling here either. So the fees, everybody's always interested in the fees. There is going to be a monthly base charge. And as the report said, the base monthly fee covers the ongoing time and costs associated with the program, keeping trucks on the road, having a driver available, all those things that are fixed costs that are, unavoidable, regardless of the number of pickups. And then we also have the separate on-call collection charge, as I mentioned earlier. When you call for a collection, then that will be assessed to your monthly bill. So the monthly base charge, you will see that all the time if you sign up. The on-call collection charge will only appear when you have the service. Now, because of billing cycles and that sort of thing, it may, it will be dated when the collection is, but you may have a pickup in July, and just because of the timing of billing and invoicing and that sort of thing, that charge may not be seen until August. So that's just a detail. What do those fees look like? So the base fee that we're presenting to you today, that is $2.50, and then the curbside collection for each collection is $9.25. So that's our proposal. We anticipate, when we're coming to you with our annual review in this spring, we may talk about this, but if we have some information, we will certainly share what data we have on this program going forward. We don't anticipate having a serious discussion about any change in these fees until probably 2024. So through all of this, looking at this program, and you may recall that some of our original discussions included household batteries being included in the Recycle Plus program. But through conversations, and we had initiated conversations with Marion County earlier before any of this started to kind of start talking about, hey, can we get household batteries into our curbside program? Because we're seeing the cause, fires being caused by many of the rechargeables in trucks and facilities. And folks might be surprised to learn that, those singing birthday cards that you get, those have batteries in them, and they have been the cause of truck fires and little transfer station fires. And we've, we just learned from a presentation from the manager at Metro South that they're seeing about 1 to 2 fires a week started and attributed to these to batteries of some sort. And not so much, your double A's and your, those types of things, but it's the rechargeables and even the button batteries and those kinds of lithium batteries that will set off fires. So, and also, so obviously, the other reason for doing it, there are very valuable metals and minerals in all the rechargeable batteries. And, we want to capture every bit of that we can. Other jurisdictions, as I said, are collecting this material and collecting it curbside. As I mentioned, Marion County has been doing it for a long time because they wanted to keep the material out from their burner because of air quality issues. So, and then Washington County, they also are doing curbside, and Gresham is doing curbside as well as our neighbors to the north in Vancouver. And the collectors and we agree that we can do this with no change to the monthly fee at this time, because we are asking folks to, put these batteries in their glass bin on top. We're hoping that, that we really want the public to put it in when they set out their glass bin when it's full or half full, so that keeps the program as efficient as possible.
Rick?
Yeah.
Rick?
Yeah.
On the battery subject, is this still going to be confined to the urban areas, or is this going to be for rural pickup as well? This will be across the county. Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner Potter. That's a great question. This is going to be implemented across the county.
Good.
Yeah, this is a part of our opportunity, to recycle what we're doing on a regular basis. Yeah, so this falls right into that. This is not the optional program. Everybody has this opportunity.
Another question I have is the outreach for this battery component similar to the Recycling Plus, or is there a separate outreach that occurs to create awareness around this?
I think that's a great question. We will probably continue those. We will obviously be able to do some broader outreach with the batteries, use the social media, use our Clackamas Quarterly, be able to, when we do a bill insert and send our guides out, all of our guides will change. So when anybody requests that, at our tabling events and those types of things. So it will just become part of the regular outreach program. So any other questions about this?
About batteries?
About the whole Recycle Plus program, or, just clarifying questions, anything before? And then I want to show you some of those promotional materials, just quick run through so we can see them on the screen so other people can see them as well. And then we can move into public comment and your deliberation. But if you have
I have some questions, but I don't want to take up the whole time.
It's okay. If they're clarifying questions, I think this is the right
Yeah,
time.
okay. A couple of items of collection that
wasn't mentioned, and I'm sure you guys have looked into, which is a big elephant, is styrofoam. And the other one is fluorescent tubes as opposed to compact fluorescents.
Right. Yeah, the tubes are a little difficult to handle. Most of those in the curbside situation, most of those can be taken to, local drop-off spots, and quite a few, actually. A lot of the retailers that sell those are taking those back. I know that there are a couple of the larger publicly traded companies, like Waste Management and Republic Services, do have a mail back service. And right, am I correct, Commissioner Palmier, in that you guys have a lamp tracker? Is that right?
That is accurate, Rick.
Okay. And then, styrofoam is the large elephant in the room. We do have the local drop off that's difficult to get to, but we, for folks and some folks, and that will probably be an item that we will be discussing as one of the items 4 times a year, kind of for a drive. Or we may start to try to do some other things, again, some drop offs, because the material is just so bulky, and the environmental, it's a push on the environmental when you start looking at the life cycle analysis, if it's the right thing to do or not. We just happen to have an experimental program, an experimental program in the region that makes it convenient for folks to drop that material off. So, and they are, they are doing, they're taking that material, getting it down to the molecular level, but to date, I think it's just being used as fuel. So that's where we are on that.
So it's going from an elephant in the room to a questing beast.
Go
It's
ahead.
going from being an elephant in the room to being a questing beast.
Yeah.
Another question I have is there anything in the requirements or code that would prohibit neighbors from gathering together and putting out, 2 or 3 neighbors putting it out for a collection at one person's house? Because the fee's kind of high, and I can see why that would happen. Says, put your neighbor stuff in there and we'll give them a call.
Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing to prevent that.
Okay with the haulers and their franchising?
Nope, nothing to prevent that. They can do that. It happens a lot. People share garbage service. People share, recycling containers. That happens throughout the system.
And are all the franchise companies using their own people, or any of them farming this out as a contractor to do for them?
Yes, at this point, no one has come forward to say they were going to subcontract or farm it out to another one of the other franchisees or anything like that. So we have not.
So they've all agreed to participate in this?
They have.
They would probably have to have that approval if they did contract it out, wouldn't they? To us?
That would be something they would have to have approved.
Okay, and lastly, is there a program for follow-up on the program and report back to us to see how successful it is and see if it needs to be bended?
That's a great question, and something that I didn't address in the presentation or the staff report. Yes, they are going to be required to, provide us with, kind of regular customer lists. And we haven't gotten into all the details, but and we have the monthly recycling report. We're going to make sure that the materials that we're collecting are on there, which I think all of them are at this point. So we're going to, they will be recording what they're collecting there. And then that's probably about the extent. And then, well, with the exception of on their, the annual rate review, we're going to develop a tab so that they can record, their hours, and just as they do for their other work.
Okay, so we could be expecting some follow-up and reporting on the success of the program.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I'm done.
Those are great questions. Thank you, Commissioner Potter.
Yeah, those are really good. Same questions I had, actually. One additional one as a follow-on to that follow-up review. Is it viable or reasonable to include measuring demand for the rural population for inclusion in that review, or is there just a better way to figure out when and how to implement that?
That was, yes, so that's what, I mean, I'm not sure exactly how we do demand. I mean, we may do, you know, we try to do a customer satisfaction survey, and we asked that question before. So we might do that again, and then also people will call, and that will help, you know, if people call and let us know, or neighborhoods will ask. So yeah, we're gonna have to figure out a way to gauge that. So it's a good question.
Okay, and I see Julie has a question too.
Thanks, Chad. Rick, my question is, if you have somebody who's a vigorous, I don't know, recycler, has a lot of film regularly, or clamshells, because the number one, clamshells can really bulk up too, and they consistently don't fit in the bin. Is there an option for folks in those situations to get a second bin, or add on a extra charge for an extra bag outside the bin?
You know, we haven't discussed in detail that consideration, because we think that the bin's pretty big. It's you know, it's pretty big, but still
Okay.
those clamshells can be big too. If you think of
Right.
the large, you know, the large salad, right? The big salad and spinach containers and that sort of thing. So they're large as well. And I think, you know, we're trying to keep it in the bin if we can. I think there will be, you know, as things go along, we'll adjust. And if there need to be a charge for extras, we may do that. We're trying to minimize that in the hopes that folks could get what they might consider extras in the larger bin. But
Okay. And I see there also is a question in the chat, just or the Q&A, just pointing that out as well.
No other questions from the presentation for this group. I think we can open up to public comment.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I'd
Yes,
like
please.
to just real.
Oh, you had more to
Yeah,
share.
just real
Yeah.
quickly.
Thank you.
And I just saw somebody's hand go up.
Rick, that was me, Carlton. I had a question about the plastic bags at the third-party disposal far west. Is the process where they would empty the materials in these bags and sort them? But what happens with the bag when they're done with that? Does that go to Texas and Nevada?
A great question. Yes. Those will go in with all of the other film.
Perfect. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna not show those right now because apparently it went away. That was on my desktop. So I will send you that in the mail, and I will put it up on the Solid Waste Commission site as well for the public. That let's see, we did have a question. So yeah, the addition of batteries to the weekly glass bin also effective January 2023. At this point, it is going to be effective January 1, 2023. There, somebody asked about, can clamshells be sliced into smaller pieces to eliminate their bulk and fit in the bin? And I have never, that is something I will need to confirm, but I have never heard anything that says that you couldn't do that. Carlton, or?
The only thing I can think of, Rick, is that in the sorting and processing, that sometimes smaller pieces don't work well in the conveyors.
Well, and that's a great, and Commissioner Potter, that's a great point. And in this, that's why this special program, this optional program is, these materials are going to be separated. So they will go straight on all by themselves. They're not getting mixed with anything. So when they get a bag of the textiles, it's going in the textile pile. You know, it's just like the old days when we had the trucks that were all divided up, right? So they're going to grab textiles, boom, they're going to grab the film bags, it's going down the film line, and that's all that gets baled, no sorting, none of that. So
I thought of a thought on that. The plastic clamshells, are they all just for the number 1 plastic in the triangle with the number 1, or are they taking like all the other different numbers?
just the number 1s.
Okay.
Yeah, that process for making those, the process for using that material is just new. They've always accepted a certain percentage in the bottle bales. They could accept a little bit of that material, you know, their chemistry would work, but chemistry starts fails with the, you know, when you get too much of it. But
Yeah.
they've just found a way to.
Okay. So my thought is, if you cut them up into small pieces, not every piece has the number. And if you've got somebody who's mixed, you know, 4s and 5s in with 1s, then it might invalidate their whole batch. But that's my only thought on it. But
That would be a challenge. But I'll just share a lot of the processes because it'll be going through, you know, only to that PET processor. Some of those things, like a real likely one is a number 5 polypropylene, which is like clear, and it will fall out of that process. So just in a sink float system, but some of the others won't. So, it's a great point. Oh, I just saw another. And the question that just came in was, if it's going into a bin, are there going to be bags to break out the different items to recycle? And yes, I may have missed that in the presentation, but the textiles and the textiles, clamshells, and the film, the franchisee will be providing, the collector will be providing a bag for those, and then customers will provide their own zip sealed 1 quart bag for 1 quart minimum size bag for the compact fluorescents. Thank you. Great questions from everybody. Mr. Chair.
Yeah, you had, I think, a few more things you wanted to share on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, no worries.
I thought I had that right up on my desktop, and for some reason I couldn't find it and didn't want
No worries. Really good Q&A
to be
there.
annoying. Oh, here we go. Missed it the first time around. So this is, I am off mute. So this is a letter that will go to, that will go out. Whoops. Move you folks over there. So this is a letter that will go out that the collectors will send. It will be both in English and Spanish. And it'll include all how to sign up with the individual company that's sending the letter. Then there will be a recycle guide, both in English and Spanish. And this is, I talked about kind of the leave behind and the glass bin, or a postcard. So if we decide to send a postcard, be something like this, but this is what we'll probably leave in the bin as well. And then I mentioned the oops tag. So it too is in English and Spanish, and kind of talking about what Commissioner Hamilton just mentioned. You know, these are all need to be clear and number one, and things that you know that don't belong, and then what does belong. So that's the start. Thank you.
To share.
What's that?
That was everything that you had. to
Yeah, that
share.
was it. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you,
Sure.
Mr. Chair.
You were cycling for other slides.
Yeah.
All right, so,
Yep.
so now we'll open it up for public comment. We can spend 15 minutes. If any attendees would like to provide a comment, you can hit your raise hand button on the Zoom bar, which is either at the top or the bottom, depending on your view. If anyone is on the phone and you hit *9, that will indicate that you've raised your hand. And once we've called on you, you'll have to hit #6 to unmute if your hand is raised. So we'll give you guys a moment to see if we have any raised hands here.
Mr. Chair, we do not have any hands raised at the moment.
Okay. Thank you for clarification on that. So with that, we'll move on to the 5th item on our agenda, reviewing the recommendations and actions for the expanded recycling services program. Rick, do you want to share the options for consideration or recommendations?
Well, I wanted to make sure, I think we were going to also, I wanted to make sure that everybody had had a chance to read the administrative rules. And I didn't hear anybody get back to me, but I want to make sure if there are any questions, you know, these are the rules that are going to be, you know, primarily on the collector. You know, some definitional changes and the rules for the program are on there. So if you're prepared to, I mean, we don't need to go through those if everybody has read them and is comfortable with them.
Yeah. Anyone have any comments or feedback on those rule revisions?
I would like to say that it looks to me like it's offering us a lot more flexibility to decide about recycling, and that seemed to be written into it. Other items seem to be mainly housekeeping items, but I think it's a better product now.
Thank you. Yeah, and I mean, I'd like to say that I think you guys seem to move pretty quickly on this. So to the staff and to whoever else was involved with helping to make this something that we could recommend an action on. It seems very thorough and quick, and thank you for the work that you guys have done.
Well, I truly have to thank my colleagues again in Washington County, because truly they did a lot of work over there, and it'd be remiss of me not to say that.
Okay, I don't see any other hands raised for comment, and I don't have any other comments on the revisions. Do we want to review the recommendations by the staff?
You can do that.
Okay.
At your pleasure.
I will do that. All right. So I see 3 recommendations. The first is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the proposed additional recycling collection service and adopt the proposed fees with an effective date of January 1, 2023. Second recommendation is to the Board of Commissioners, the addition of household batteries for recycling to the weekly solid waste collection service. And recommendation number 3, to the director, approval of the proposed administrative rule amendments.
I have a question.
Anyone?
Do we need to have a separate motion for each of these, or can these be combined?
I think we wrote them this way thinking that it might just be cleaner just to do each one, because the third recommendation is to the director to approve these rules. So the code allows either the board or the Solid Waste Commission to direct staff to promulgate rules, and that the director is the one then that signs those. So we kind of viewed each of those separately, and just seemed to be cleaner to maybe address those individually as well.
Just trying to save time, Rick.
Yeah.
You know.
I understand.
Okay, and are you ready to get a motion, Chad?
Yeah, real quick, does anyone have any suggestions or comments on the 3 recommendations before we move for a motion? If not, I'm not seeing any, then I think we are ready for a motion.
Well, I move to move forward to the Board of County Commissioners recommendation number 1. And I'll let you fill in the whole thing. You guys know what it said here rather than reading it again. I think that'll be okay. That's my motion.
And I'd be happy to second Bill's motion for number 1.
Okay, we have a motion to accept number 1 and a second. Do it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and I think that implies that we'll make or entertain a motion on number 2.
Let someone else do that.
I'll motion to accept the recommendations for the additional batteries for the weekly collection service.
Okay, I'll second that motion. All in favor of motion number 2, acceptance?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then last but not least, a motion for item 3 of the recommendations.
I'll motion the approval of the administrative rule amendments as presented for the recycle amendments.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I think that's unanimous for all 3 recommendations.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. Mr. Chair, we have a couple updates, if you're prepared to hear those.
Yes, please. Let's do that.
All right. So we'll start with, as you heard, we hired a new person just recently, but we are currently 4 folks down. So we've had some folks move on to their dream jobs and change of life changes and that sort of thing. And so we wish them well, but we are in the process of hiring one position. Evan, we've been in the second interview just yesterday with one of the positions that was vacated by Emily Merkland back at the beginning of this year. So that position, it will be hired and just beginning to start the HR process on the other 3. So just kind of sharing that with you. So we're a lean, mean machine right now, and doing.
Is that affecting any of the scheduled programs, Rick?
No, we'll keep those. I mean, all of those things that are top of the schedule are going to get done. those are the things we're working on, those, those processes, and anything to do with rate review and all of that, those are priorities, and some of the other things might not get done. So right now we have we have a BOD, a business outreach dude. We have one. It used to be a business outreach team, so now we're down to one. But working and reaching out to the collectors, and so doing as much as we can with the resources that we have. And then one of the others I think we brought up the last time we met in an update, that the state provided a $10 million grant to cities and counties within the metro region to flow through, and gave it to Metro to facilitate grants for cleaning up low income areas and, the side highways and byways and that sort of thing. And so I think we mentioned that Evan was instrumental in securing the grant for us, and part of it was about a 200,000+. Evan can provide the details if need be, for RV cleanup, abandoned RVs that are on the side of the road and that sort of thing. And apparently, I think we mentioned before, it's a $6,000 bill on average to take care of one of those. So we hope to be able to take care of quite a few of those. Neil and Sophie in our office, and have been working on a bulky waste project with the collectors at targeted communities in the area. And they the area is throughout, several franchisees are, working and helping us with that. And we're asking them to track data. So they're going to essentially go through these multifamily communities, pick up whatever bulky waste is there, and then record that and take that and have it disposed, taken care of properly, and then we will pay them for that. So we're not sure. We have $90,000, and we're kind of keeping an eye on it. The collectors are going to be giving us reports weekly, so we can kind of keep an eye on where that goes, or, how long that will last. It's hard to plan for that. So we'll get a sense here, I think, in the first few weeks of what that's going to look like. So those are the big items that are kind of jumping out that you might be interested in. Anything else, Evan? You think we should? I think that's what we had talked about.
Yeah, thanks for the summary of that grant. I just wanted to make sure it was clear that folks knew the provenance of that. So the state in the last legislative session set aside a significant amount of one-time funding for cleanup activities throughout the region. And then that was allocated to Metro, and Metro has put that funding to use, 10 million in total, in several different ways, working with nonprofits, working with existing cleanup programs. And then some of that money was offered to local governments to do cleanup efforts that met local priorities. And so the county is receiving $300,000 in funding to cover some of those program activities that Rick mentioned, including removal of RVs, some additional bulky waste pickups at low-income multifamily communities, and some additional resources for enhanced or supplemental garbage collection at areas impacted by houseless encampments. So yeah, that's the source of the funding, and we appreciate Metro working with us to offer that.
That's it for staff, Mr. Chair.
Are there comments or updates that they would like to provide?
I would be interested to know how the food waste program is coming along.
Well, it is coming along. We are moving as we can, and we've lost a couple people instrumental, Kelly, moving on, and so with her departure and Emily's departure, and so we just, that's a couple of folks out of the team, and so we're kind of down to 1.5 folks right now. So Nerisse is going to be just getting started. Half of her position will be doing and helping with the food outreach. So she's getting up and is enthused and ready to go. So
If the Solid Waste Commission would like it, we could certainly prepare an update on that topic for an upcoming
Absolutely.
meeting.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like that, Kevin.
Okay.
That's a good transition into one of my questions is, for our next meeting, do we want to wait for a decision from the board to and the director to sign or to decline to sign on the revised waste rules, or just plan for some time early next year? Does the staff have a recommendation?
Early next year might be the best. But if something comes up, we can certainly try to assemble folks. I know we'll be moving into the holiday season and that gets a little tough. And you reminded me, I apologize, that, the process going forward, now that you've made that recommendation, we will be taking that to the board in an issues on their Tuesday morning. So we'll take your current recommendations, take those forward, and then see if they wish to have another policy session on the subject or not, and then prepare, the board order for their approval to, adopt the fees and have those included in the fee schedule. Well, I don't want to speculate, but I mean, at their policy session, which was the big, their big decision on how they wanted to this program to proceed, they did direct staff to put together this program. So in conjunction with with the collectors. So we'll see what they say in issues, but we have the time to get that through. I've mapped out the timing on that. It may not be until December that we're able to get something to them on a consent agenda or in front of them for full adoption, unless they decide in a week or so to say, no, just bring it to us in a board order. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. If anything changes other than it moving forward, is it possible for a notification or just?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
I'm personally deeply interested in how this goes.
Yes, we want to get it in front of them as quickly as possible. So, and move towards a positive outcome.
Okay, great. So we'll plan on a meeting sometime early next year, likely, and with an update on the food waste.
Sounds good.
Okay. Does anyone else have any items they want to discuss?
But I just, on behalf of you, to just say thanks to Rick for, the given situation with the staffing and keeping the system going, and all the initiatives that you and the team have been working on. It's appreciated. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you. A lot of people involved.
Excellent. Okay. If no one else has any other items, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See ya.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.